All right, handout 3 has to do with slope again. We're going to find it a little bit differently now on graphs and tables. So to find the slope of the graph, Aiden counted like we have been doing. He found 2 dots and he did the rise, and notice they're counting by 2s. So he started at 10, he went 2, 4, 6. So he found it was 6, and then he went over, they're counting by 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So he put 6 over 8, which equals 3/4. And that's what you've been doing. And just a little reminder, remember you can also, you can go down like they did, or you can count up and over. So either way works. I'm going to reset. Okay, so this is a different way now. So using the ordered pairs, and remember that is 8, 10, and 16, 16. That's your X and your Y. How could Aiden have found the rise to be 6? And then how could he have found the run to be 8? So if you want to pause the video for a second and think about that. So he could have done this 16, which is your Y, minus this 10, because that's really kind of the same as counting, but you're just subtracting and getting 6. And then he could take this 16, which is your X, minus 8, which is 8. And that's the same as counting when you subtract. So that is the slope formula. We can describe slope as, we know, rise over run, or we've talked about that it's the change in Y over the change in X. Change means, you're subtracting. So that's what you just did up here. We did the change in Y, which was 16 minus 10, and then over the change in X. So because of these ratios, now this is really confusing, but just bear with me. It is, the slope formula is Y minus Y over X minus X. And then there's these little numbers here, and I don't really hardly ever write them. It's a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1, and I will tell you later why those are there. But you're just going to hear us say Y minus Y over X minus X. So the reason those numbers are there is because, let's see here. If we have, let's go back to these ordered pairs up here. This is your X and this is your Y. Maybe. Okay. And this is your X and this is your Y. So if you were going to do Y minus Y, if we started with this 16 and did 16 minus 10, it's like delayed. Okay, minus 10. And then we did all that over. So if we started with this Y, then we have to start with this X. So then we'd have to do 16 minus 8. We could not flip-flop them. And that's what these little 2s and 1s mean, that if you start with the Y on one ordered pair, then you have to start with that X on the same ordered pair. So we'll see it down here. Okay, so if we have a table, your X's and Y's are usually labeled. The formula is Y minus Y over X minus X. So you can choose any 2 that you want. Some people like to get in the habit of like circling them, and some people like to just use the ones right by each other. But I mean, we can use these 2 since they don't have decimals. So, and it doesn't matter if you do 5 minus 6 or 6 minus 5. So if we do 6, please work, minus 5, that's a minus 5. And then since we did this 6 first, right here, then we need to start with that 2 and do, it's over 2 minus 0. For some reason, when I'm writing, it's delayed. Okay, and then you go ahead and solve it. So 6 minus 5 is 1. 2 minus 0 is 2. And that slope is a positive 1/2. So if you would graph these on a graph and do those ordered pairs, you could count it like we have been doing, and it would be 1 rise over run, 1 up, 2 over. So go ahead and pause it and try to do number 2 now. And let's all use, so we do the same, let's all use these 2 ordered pairs right here, these first 2. Okay, so I did 62 minus 22. That was my y minus y. And then I had to go back to this and do 8 minus 3. I got 40 over 5, which is 8. That is my slope. That's also, it would be like your unit rate per 1. Okay, on this graph, you really don't need to do y minus y over x minus x. I would go back to doing the triangle. So notice they're counting by tens. So if we go here to here, you're counting 10, 20, 30. So we have 30 over, and then it's counting by 5s, and it goes to 5. And then that should equal negative 6, because you should notice it's a negative slope. On the back, I want you to try doing some of these. Remember, you're going to do y minus y over x minus x. Remember, the first number is your x, the second number is your y. Sometimes it helps to actually put those up there. It does not matter what number you start with, but if you start with this 7 and minus 4, then on the bottom you have to do 1 minus 2. So I'm going to do it the opposite way because it's going to turn out the same both ways. So I'm going to do 4 minus 7 over, and now I have to go back to the 2. 2 minus 1. 4 minus 7 is negative 3. 2 minus 1 is 1. And so we have negative 3 over 1, which would just be negative 3. I want you to do 5, 6, and 7 for tomorrow, and you can stop there.